Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. The play-in is almost here, so I'm getting an early look at the first two games that we've got. In this one, going to be looking at the Magic and the Hawks in their 7-8 matchup there in the Eastern Conference. We've also got up the Grizzlies and the Dubs for that Western Conference matchup. So make sure you are subscribed to that channel. Continue to follow along all postseason. I'm going to get into everything I've got here for the Magic and the Hawks. We ended the season, just want to put that little disclaimer out there, up 35 units. Not exactly what I wanted to end the season, a little bit of a rough streak at the end of March there, but very excited that the playoffs are here so I can give you guys a deeper look at stuff and have a bit more time to dive into the games and the options that we do have to bet on these player props. So if that all sounds good, give this video a like. Let's get right into it. As we jump into the Hawks and the Magic here, we do have a code going right now. YOFS25 will get you 50% off your first 3 months in the VIP if you're interested in coming to tail along all playoffs. We made about 25 units in the playoffs last season. Looking to build on that this year, get it up to 40. So hopefully you guys can come along for the ride and get that little discount as you jump in. Let's look at this Hawks and Magic matchup. And this is the Hawks on offense, Magic on defense. So you've got some interesting stuff here starting right off the top. Franz Wagner in their last game, where they just played on the 8th of this month of April, Wagner guarded Trae Young for a majority of that game. And he didn't really start on him right away, but we ended up seeing him play the majority of the minutes that the Hawks had the ball on offense. Wagner was his matchup, and that'll come into play here with a prop that I want to show you guys in just a minute. Corey Joseph guarded Daniels. KCP was on Risacher, and that's the thing that I think is a little bit different than probably normal thinking here, is that KCP would normally be the guy that you would think would guard Trae Young. Franz Wagner and his size seemed to be a bigger problem for Trae, so that was the switch that they made there. And then KCP on Risacher, the Rook, which I don't think Risacher is going to be long for this game. So that's going to be some of the stuff I'm looking at with a few of these props as well, is that the Rook probably isn't going to be getting too many minutes in what's now going to be considered not quite a do or die game just yet, but you want to win this one and avoid having to win another one if you're the Hawks. Mo Gay going to be switching time there with Niang, and he and Paolo will be guarding those guys. If it's Mo Gay, if it's George Niang, guys that are off ball, that's what you're going to see from Paolo Banchero, so that he's going to be available for some more rebounds, which we'll talk about as well. Then Wendell Carter Jr. is going to be the matchup there for Okongwu. And to be honest, Okongwu kind of ate him up in that last one and had an incredible game. So that's what we're looking at here on this side of the ball. On the other side of the ball, we've got the Magic on offense here, and this is how they match up, the Hawks match up with them on defense. You got Trae Young on Corey Joseph, Risacher on KCP, Dyson Daniels obviously on Wagner, and then here's the interesting part is Okongwu or Gay. Like, who are they guarding? Because they switched a lot in this last game. Okongwu was guarding Paolo most of the season when these teams matched up. He started on Paolo, and then he switched, and that ended up being a big reason why he got like 14, 15 rebounds in that game, was because he was no longer guarding Paolo. He was a good under for the boards when he was the matchup with Paolo, but that switched in the middle of the game at some point. And then you saw other guys like Mo Gay or Niang or Daniels and others, like even Caris LeVert, spending time guarding Paolo and sort of switching a lot. So we got to keep an eye on that even though this is how I think things will start with Okongwu on Paolo, we might be getting a switch in that one. I don't know if we can depend on this matchup for any props that we want to bet. As I jump into what we've got here for these player props, go ahead and give the video a like. Goes a super long way. Hopefully you guys are going to be able to use a lot of the info that I'm dropping here for you in the bets that you want to make. I will be using Props Madness as well, but I did have enough time to make some of these graphics that I like to make to really like bring home the point that I'm trying to make with you guys in these little summaries that I put together. But if you're looking at Okongwu, I still like the dimes. I don't know if 2+ is going to be there, but I would play 3+ assists for like plus money essentially, because as I'm recording this on Monday, 2+ assists is available for like -140 still, but I don't know how long that's going to be there if other people find this bet as well. 2.5 I would still take at about +140 or better, and the reason here is a couple things. One, he's already good for about 3 assists or so per game when he's playing without, or at least 2.5, let's say, per game when he's playing without DeAndre Hunter and Jalen Johnson, who are both obviously not playing in this game. Almost 5, 4.5, a little bit better potential assists per game. And then that nice hit rate on the 2+, over in 26 of the 31 games that he's played this season without those two guys. Interestingly enough, versus Orlando as well, he's had really good numbers this season. He's over in all 3 games. He's had at least 3 in all 3 games there. He had 3 and 4 in 2 of them. So he is still good for potentially 3 or even 4, which is a little bit of a stretch because in this last game, he had like 4 assists on 4 potential assists here against the Magic there on April 8th. But 3 a game versus this team, including games that he was playing like with DeAndre Hunter, right, or Jalen Johnson, and then 4.7 potentials over in all 3. Like I said, I like the dimes a lot better than I do the points and rebounds, where I lean under because these numbers have gotten really high for him. But I will say, like, Wendell Carter has not proven to be a good matchup for Okongwu. He had his way with him in the last game when he played big minutes, by the way. He led the team in minutes. So I put those asterisks there because although I'd like to go under, I think if you do give him minutes of, like, he played 40 in the last one. If you give him 38 to 40 in this one, I don't know that I'd be going under on much for Okongwu. I think he's probably in line for another big game, but the assists is where I have the biggest value and the biggest edge to go over for him. Told you guys I didn't like Risacher to get very many minutes, and that is a big reason why I think Caris LeVert is going to be in line for more minutes. This is what we saw in this last game on April the 8th as well, was Caris LeVert play 30 minutes in this last one, and in games where it's been like somewhat do or die time for the Hawks, we've seen Caris LeVert get big minutes, come in and take over for Zachary Risacher specifically. Even Terrence Mann, who we'll also talk about in a minute, has seen a bump up in minutes as a result of them wanting him to come in off the bench as opposed to playing Risacher. And at times for small ball, like Terrence Mann's a really, really good rebounder. But let's stick to LeVert for 1 sec. With Trae Young, in the games that he's played 24 minutes or more this season, he's got 19 of those games, averaging 17 a game, getting at least 13 points in 16 of them. So really nice hit rate, really nice averages, and then a matchup that calls for him to keep playing, right? So if you look at the last 3 bullets here for Caris LeVert, they're all relevant to his recent matchups versus Orlando, which have all been with the Hawks, right? These last 3, 14.7 points per game, almost 12 field goal attempts, and 4 free throws a game versus Orlando. 4 in all 3 except for one where he had 3 attempts, so basically 4. 4.1 rebounds, 6.4 chances. So taking a look at the rebounds there, yes, 4 rebounds looks good, but the rebound chances are not good. He's just getting really high rebound success rate, right? He's over in just 10 of 19. I put the rebounds there because it seems like a good matchup here, which is the last thing that I wrote at the screen there, which is he's at 6 rebounds a game versus this team, 8.3 rebound chances versus Orlando per game. So those are up a little bit from the season. And the reason would be that it's a good matchup. The guys that he's guarding here, when you look at who he's coming in and taking on, he's guarding guys that are playing off ball as well. That's why he's good for or at least he seems good for the rebounds and why he has done well against this team. He's guarding like KCP, Anthony Black, those types of players who are not on ball, who are playing off ball and a lot of times in the corner where he's now in really good position to get rebounds. So it's a really high rebound chance success rate, 6 rebounds on just 8 rebound chances when he's played Orlando in these 3 games for Atlanta. But if you do like the fact that it's because he's playing off ball and in good position for rebounds, you might like an over for LeVert boards. My thing here is the points are the best. Just wanted to give you a little insight into the rebounds as a potential over if you're interested, even though it's a little bit dicey as a result of what I'm talking about here. Similar look here for Terrence Mann. That's why I've got similar numbers with this season as to what I just showed you with Caris LeVert. With Trae Young, 24 plus minutes. Same thing, 10.7 points per game, over in 9 of 12 on the points alone, right? I've got the 13 plus points, rebounds, and assists, by the way, just to start from the beginning here. That's the bet that I'm looking at. The points you can see have the best hit rate though, right? We got points, assists, rebounds. Those are the top 3 things that we're looking at on the page here. 2.3 assists per game, right? 3.7 potential assists, over in 7 of 12. But similar to what I was talking about with our boy LeVert on the other slide here, Terrence Mann's getting a really high success rate on these potential assists. I don't know if that's something you want to bank on. Still a nice hit rate when he plays with Trae, 24 plus minutes. The rebounds, he's at 2.9 per game, about 3 on about 6.8 rebound chances. That checks out. So the rebound chances are pretty nice, right? I do like, I'm not worried about adding the assists to this PRA bet because it's 1.5, but the rebounds, even though that's the worst hit rate, that's the one that he's got the most 7 chances per game, right? And about 3 rebounds, which is what you expect. In fact, you could say 4 would be reasonable, which is what he did recently against the Magic when he played. And this last game that he played where everybody was in, right? 30 minutes in that game, over 5 from 3 and over 5 from the field and over 4 from 3. I bring that up because he still played 30 minutes. And that's partly because he's a good defender against Franz Wagner. So he spent a lot of time in the game for the Hawks guarding Franz and other guys. The guy who was normally guarding Franz, I believe, who was I just talking about? It was Dyson Daniels. He then could switch on to like Paolo and other guys. So having Terrence Mann out there as the lead defender on Franz opens things up for your best defender, Dyson Daniels, to maybe guard some Paolo, maybe play a little bit of free safety up top and just guard whoever has the ball up top above the break. So Terrence Mann adds some versatility to this defense that should be getting him some bigger minutes in this game. And again, he's going to be dipping in to Risacher's minutes as well. So for those of you following along at home, kind of makes sense that we'd be leaning strongly into an under for Risacher in this game, right? You've got the fact that he's a rookie. Minutes are likely to decrease from what they were in the regular season. I know they were trying to get him ready, but if you watch the Hawks in that game where the game that they almost lost at the end after the Hawks game, I forget who they were even playing. That was a bad team. It was like the Sixers, I think. It was 76ers. Risacher didn't get the minutes at the end because the Hawks didn't blow them out. And they really wanted to win that game, and it was crunch time. He came out of the game and ended up playing like 26 minutes in that one. Disappointing for those of us who thought he was going to get big minutes in a blowout, but the point is this ain't going to be a blowout for the Hawks. So Risacher shouldn't be expected to be playing very many minutes down the stretch, even though he's likely going to start down the stretch. They're going to have guys, either Mann, more likely LeVert, in the game for Zachary Risacher. That's what happened already in this the season series versus Orlando in general. Whenever they were trying to win these games, because it's a division rivalry, 17 minutes per game versus Orlando this season in those 4 games, 9 points per game on 8 shots. On the season, he's averaging about 10.5 shots. So he's 2 shots down because the minutes are down and because he's mostly doing spot ups, right? And this defense is like top 3 versus spot up shooters for the Orlando Magic. That's why he went comfortably under in all 4 games versus the Magic this season. And you add the fact that I don't think he's going to be getting extra minutes as a rookie in the playoffs. Yeah, we got to go under on Risacher tomorrow when we can get some bets down. On the other side of the ball, for the Magic, I'm looking at Paolo boards. Don't know where those are going to land. They're at about 8.5 right now. So 10 plus is like plus 125 or so on these books, which is an alt rebounds line. And it's actually better than taking the double-double because I suppose there is the opportunity for him to get a double-double with assists, although I would expect him to do it with rebounds. That's why I like taking the alt rebounds to 10 plus for him instead of messing with anything else. When you look at the matchups, he basically plays free safety, right? Like I showed you guys a minute ago that he's guarding Mohamed Gay, or George Niang, or Terrence Mann, or guys that are standing in the corner. They're playing off ball, not guys that are playing on ball up top, right? That puts him down by the baseline in good position to get those boards if he needs to. So then you add the fact that like Wendell Carter Jr. is running around chasing Okongwu, who does play up top a lot, to do that dribble handoff or pick and roll with Trae Young. So that's why you get Paolo as a better rebounding option than Wendell Carter, although they both did great last game. In fact, Wendell probably did better than him in the last one, but they kind of switched the matchups, and Paolo just is guarding whoever comes into his sort of area on the court, and that area is close to the bucket for some rebounds. Similar look. It's correlated in a way, right? I like an under on Franz Wagner boards here. And this was something that I really dove into when I looked at the matchup in this last game versus the matchups in the first couple games this season when these teams matched up. And Franz was not guarding Trae Young. But in this game, this last one on 4-8 that they played, he did guard Trae. And he didn't start that way, but he ended up guarding Trae for a good amount of that game. That was the only game this season that he went under 7 boards versus the Hawks. Now, the thing is, even in the games that he went over with 7 rebounds in their first 2 matchups, he only had 9.3 rebound chances per game, right? Like, I think he had double digits. I mean, I don't even think he had double digits. I think it was 9 rebounds chances to get 7, 9 rebound chances to get 7, and then 8 rebound chances, and he only got 6. So in the games where he's playing off ball, normally guarding guys in the corner, maybe Terrence Mann or whomever, those guys are now being guarded by like a Paolo. And looks like he's going to be doing a lot more work up top, limiting Trae, as they liked his height in the way that bothered Trae. And that's what really helped them come back in that game. So it kind of seems like if you had to resort to this in the last game, you might just start that way this game. So you don't have to put yourself in a hole like they were against the Hawks in that game on April the 8th, right? The other thing here is, even if you give him the big minutes, 36 plus minutes this season, because we should expect him to play 38 to 40 minutes in a must win here, a really almost need to have game, right? Against the Hawks here, 36 plus minutes this season, 14 games where he's played at least that amount of time, 6.3 rebounds per game. So still not quite there. And that's on just 9.6 rebound chances. So although Franz is getting a good amount of boards and he's averaging about 5.8 on the season as a whole, right, which is still below this number, like this is a situation where we might be able to get a little bit of bump down to go under, because of the fact that he's got this matchup with Trae Young so far from the basket in bad position to get rebounds. All right, don't forget, we also have the video up for the Grizzlies and the Dubs there in the Western Conference 7-8 matchup as well. That's going to be on Tuesday night, so definitely want to get in early and check that video out on the channel as well. And if you do want to jump into the VIP to make sure you're not missing any of the plays that I'm putting down this playoffs, get in with code YOFS25 and get 50% off your first 3 months there as you come in and get some of these looks with us in the VIP Discord. So hope to see y'all there, and until I do, happy betting.